Hi everyone, I'm Jessica, also known as Iekikadragon on Ravelry, and welcome to the Knitting Dragon vlog. Thank you for that little tip. Episode 8. Yes, episode 8. So, I'm happy to have you here, and let's just get on into the good stuff, because that's what we're here for. So, I have some finished objects this week, which is really exciting. First up, I will show you the Get Her Gone blanket is done. I don't know what lit the fire inside me, but I wanted this blanket done, I guess. So, the Get Her Gone blanket, ta-da! It's pretty. And there's my progress keeper. So I knit, remember I only did like a row last time. So I knit from there all the way down to the end. So I think it's funny with corner to corner blankets, in my opinion, because when you're kind of in that midway point and you're going the whole length, it just really seems to plod along. And then you hit a certain point, and I would say in this blanket, it was kind of right around here, that you've decreased enough stitches that you notice it's going faster. And then it just moves like lightning after that. It's very motivating because you're just getting fewer and fewer and fewer. I did play, details, sorry. This is made with Caron Big Cakes yarn using the colorway Toffee Brickle, and it was on my needles for 31 days. So it was exactly 1 month from cast on to cast off, which I thought was kind of neat. April 19th to Sunday the 19th of May. I had to think too hard about that. So this pattern was based on the pattern Magic Numbers by Helen Cosgrove-Davies. And I ended up playing Yarn Chicken. I had waited at the very beginning, and then slightly under halfway, I started the decreases, and I was like, okay, I gave myself a little wiggle room, not much, because I wanted to use up as much yarn as possible. And I got down and I kept looking at that yarn ball and I was going, it's not enough. It's not enough. I can tell it's not enough. And I got down and it wasn't enough. So I ended up frogging pretty much this entire red section, pulling it back. And then I had noticed early on when I cast it on, like there's a little bit of curling here, which isn't really showing up, but see how it kind of curls? So, and this is pre-blocking, but still, and it's very dense. So I was knitting very tightly in the beginning, and I'm not sure why. I was knitting very tightly. And I remember registering that and thinking, oh, I'll have to compensate for that, but then forgot, obviously, a month later. So I backed this up, I tightened my gauge, and I was so worried about it not having enough yarn that I actually fudged the decreases a little bit and decreased slightly more than the increases were over here. So my blanket's not exactly square, but it's close. And I did end up having enough yarn. I tightened up my gauge enough and made this dense enough. I think I would have had enough because I ended up having enough yarn at the end and a little tiny ball left over. I forgot to weigh it, I should have. But that's okay. I called it good enough. I wasn't gonna frog it and do it again just to get closer to using up all the yarn. So I'm very pleased with this. I think it's sweet. It's a nice, I decided for an adult, if you put, of course no one would use it this way, but if you put the corner up to your center, it's a nice little lap blanket. However, most people won't use it that way. They'll use it, and you know, it doesn't get all the way, I'm fairly short. It doesn't get all the way to my feet. So could still be a lap blanket. I'm not sure where I want to donate it because the colors don't really scream baby blanket, and it's not very soft. It's nice and squishy, but it's not a super soft blanket. So I still think it should go to an adult. I like that. I think that's fun. I like it because I chose the colors, that's why. So yeah, not quite square, not perfect. There are mistakes in it that I left in there because at the end of the day, if someone minds that much, I won't know about it, will I? Because it's gonna be donated to someone that I'm never gonna see. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. And I'm gonna take out this progress keeper. So I'm happy that I get to donate this now, and I'm looking forward to that feeling and that experience, and that it will no longer be in my house and it's out of my stash for Stash Bust Spring. So yeah, with AKA Nornit. So ta-da! Get her gone blanket, all done. The next thing, I do have another finished object, believe it or not. Don't ever count on this again. I did finish my mom's Poison Dart Frog socks. They are based on the I'm So Basic socks by Summer Lee, and they were on my needles for 13 days. Let's see, what else can I say about them? I played Yarn Chicken with these as well. I feel like there's a theme going on in my life, like with my gaming characters and playing Yarn Chicken. So I played Yarn Chicken with these as well with the blue, and I lost that one as well. Oh no. So luckily I did have another mini skein of this blue from VK Yarns. So I just drew from that. I think they're exactly the same. You can't tell at all. So I don't even know which one. Oh, this one. I don't think you can tell. They're so close. And so there's the progress keeper of where I was last time. This sock was already done, but there I was. So I finished off this sock. I'm going to give these to her today. I can't believe I lost Yarn Chicken twice in one day, because I finished this one yesterday as well. I finished them both yesterday. I was feeling pretty motivated and bored, I think. So lots of knitting happened yesterday. Yeah, I think that's really all I have to say about these. VK Yarns in the colorway Strawberry Poison Dart Frog. I do love the freckling. It's very strawberry to me, and the blue is cute, looks good with the marker. So now I can take all of these stitch markers out, and I can take the progress keeper out and start using that in other projects, which I think is fun. I like this style of progress keeper. No idea what the clasp is called. It just works. It's so easy to get on and off the projects, versus this one was not easy at all. Did not enjoy that. So now I know. Let's see, what did I tell you? They were on my needles for 13 days. I'm gonna give these today. Oh, and I still have, so I ran out of the blue. I still have a bunch, 27 grams worth of the red. Now, I knew that I was gonna start putting it into a scrappy blanket because I knew I was gonna have a lot of them, and I did decide, well, I'll get into that more later. Okay, so that brings me to my works in progress. Let's just go ahead and talk about it because we're here. So I did decide I am gonna go ahead with the Battenberg blanket, which is by Sandra Paul of Cherry Heart Designs. And so what I did is I made a little swatch, and this is the pattern swatch. I didn't have the correct crochet hook, but I had pretty close. So this is the square, and I don't know, there's nothing I really have for gauge. This is the AirPod case. Look at this. This thing is tiny. And I was like, oh my gosh, how many squares? If I have to make like a giant king size blanket, how many of these am I going to have to make and sew in together? That felt a little daunting. So I tried a slightly bigger one, just using the same pattern, but doing an extra row of increases. And for some reason, this, even though it is not much larger, Oh, somebody's walking by, so my dog's gonna bark. Even though it's not much larger, it's larger enough that it makes it seem less daunting to me. So I love the look of the Battenberg blanket, and I'm pretty sure she did a pretty large blanket using these tiny squares, but I think this will still give the same impression. Like, see, it feels less daunting. So I'm gonna go with that because the whole point is to enjoy it and enjoy the process. So I have this one. This used 2 grams of yarn. This used 1 gram of yarn, and I have 24 grams left. So I could make 12 more of these, which that's not bad, right? And then math. I'm not gonna do math. I've got other skeins, and then I would put all of those in it, and then any leftover sock yarn I have from previous things, like the hat, the Musselburgh hat that I made for my son with the oranges and yellows, sunshine and pumpkin. I could put that in it. So I think this size is gonna work well. So I'm gonna go with that. I don't, believe it or not, I'm a color person. So like, I love color, and I don't have any neutrals in my stash. I don't have any neutrals. So I'm gonna have to go get some neutral yarn to make that Battenberg blanket, because that's what makes it so pleasing to me, is it's all these spots of colors, but it does have some rhyme or reason solidarity, and it makes it less overwhelming with the neutral. So I'm gonna go for, I hate beige, but I think if I call it sand, maybe I'll like it more, because our room definitely does have like an ocean beach vibe. We've got pictures of some beaches that we love hanging on our walls. We've got, you know, this really cool metal octopus and a metal sea turtle hanging on our wall. And so I just think giving it that sand tone will tie into the room nicely, and what else is already in there, along with the bright colors that I'm gonna bring in the blanket that don't seem to go with much of anything. I'm not stylish, what can I say? I never have been, probably never will be. So yeah, what I figure with this Battenberg blanket, obviously all I have is that 1 square. This is going to be an enormous project, a huge project. And I don't think, I mean, it could take a year or more, maybe. Obviously it's crochet, not knitting, but so I don't think I'm gonna show my progress on it every time, because this will be a join it in as yarn becomes available. And so I'll just show it to you when something significant is happening with it. Like I get a new color in, or, you know, cause I'm not gonna show it to you every time. That would just be silly, because progress will be phenomenally slow on this, but it will be exciting when it's done. So, okay, back into how I normally do the order of things. My oldest work in progress is our dear friend, the Flirt skirt by Claire Jackson. It's been on my needles for 47 days. I'm using Malabrigo Susurro yarn in the colorway Paris Night. And I finally put in the needle extensions. So there we go. It's looking a little more skirt-like and a little less just a straight thing. Although, you know what I was thinking? I should put it, because I've already done more increases, I should put it in, try it on tubing for you. But see, that gives a pretty decent, do you see the wedge shape we're getting now? There's my progress keeper. I feel like this is pretty steady progress for it. That's about what I seem to do on a normal week. This is kind of turned into my morning knitting, before the kids are really up getting ready for school and it's quiet in the house. I like to grab my book and read, and every time, I tell you, I dropped a bunch of stitches. I like to grab my book and read, and I like to sit there and knit. And this one is good for that because I can knit. Oh, don't drop that stitch. No. Oh, bugger. I dropped the stitch. I'm about to drop another. Oh, I dropped two. Okay. Oh boy. I'll have to fix this. Anyway, talk. I like to read this one or knit on this because it's easy. I don't have to think about it too much. It's just round and round. So I can do it when it's darker and I don't have to see everything. Unless you drop your stitches every time. So yeah, I've made good progress on this. It's gonna be a while. It is starting to look more skirt-like. I'm looking forward to, I think I'll put it on the try it on tubing next week. Not necessarily to try it on, A, because trying on clothes right now is difficult, and B, it just isn't long enough still. But then we'll get a nice, easier. I am noticing though, now that we're into like full just stockinette stitch, that it is curling quite a bit more, to be expected. I kind of want to look up and see, because I've forgotten, I know I read it originally, but what the bottom looks like to keep it from curling, so that it'll weigh it down. It's just got to be some sort of ribbing, but so yeah, now I need to fix those stitches. Let me move my progress keeper so that I mean, a little over an inch maybe 2. I don't know if you could tell. Pretty decent amount if you ask me. So yeah, I've been knitting this. I do enjoy it. I haven't come across too much aggressive grass lately, so that's nice. I think I might put my poison dart frog on here because that's gonna be easier to see than the silver. Nice red and blue little guy. Move this to where I am. To my dropped stitches. Let's see. There we go. So, yeah, what else do I have to say about this? We all know this one. Oh, one thing I have noticed is when I knit with it, it's not showing up right now very well, you won't be able to see it, but there's this line like where, because of how I hold my yarn when I'm knitting, so there will be a line of gray across this finger, and I'm a little bit worried about color bleeding when I wash it. So I'm definitely gonna have to wash this one alone and very carefully. And I've heard that there's like color capture sheets, but I've never used them and I don't know how well they work. So probably give that a try, because I definitely don't want that to bleed all over anything else that I wash. So a little bit worried about the color bleeding on that one. So yeah, that's my Flirt skirt. I did start yesterday while I was gaming what I'm gonna call I'm gonna call them my Sucky socks. So these were dictated. I had to start this particular color because I needed the blue, and the blue came as part of this sock set. So it is the VK Yarns Blue Ringed Octopus, and there's the yarn. And I'm starting to think this lady is a genius with her dyeing. I'm really looking forward to getting into it further. But if you see right here, so the blues, the way, I didn't know how it would knit up when it was in the skein, but the blues are gonna look like just these little tiny lines in the orange and yellow, like little blue rings, like the little suckers on the octopus. Oh, come on, that's cute. That's so cute. I did get the stitch marker. Oh, here it is, by JoJo's Art Studios. So it's pretty brilliant if you ask me. So I'm gonna put in this progress keeper now. I'm excited. I love this colorway. I'm a little concerned that this is gonna be my favorite one, and I'm already knitting it up. So what will I be excited about in the future, I don't know, but I am excited about it. This one may have to wait a minute because it is hard to knit around big giant progress keepers. Okay, come on, you can do this. There we go. Ta-da! So, I am concerned, genuinely, that this will be my favorite one once it's all knit up. Just kind of my style, I guess. Not my colors, but definitely my style with the silliness and the, I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy. So I got the cuff done. I just barely started knitting the leg. And that will also be based on the I'm So Basic Socks by Summer Lee and with the modified toe by Nitty Natty, the elongated toe. So that's been on my needles for 1 day. And that's that. Sorry, my current whips are just all little babies. That was Molly. There's nothing really to show right now. And the other thing that I started but have not actually done anything with is I started working on a crochet Amigurumi dragon. Obviously, I have not gotten very far. I need to go get the polyfill so that when I get this section done, I can stuff it. And I'm probably just gonna pull this chain out and start over, so I'm not even gonna give you how long it's been on my needles because I just need to start over because I don't remember where I'm at because I got distracted by having to do things in life, and so I'm just gonna start over. It doesn't hurt, I'm not that far. So this will be my little red dragon. I don't think the right size yarn that this free pattern calls for, and I didn't have the hook size. I'm not gonna go buy more, so I'm going to just use what I've got and see how it turns out. So either way, I don't think I'll ever be sad or fussy about having a cute little dragon in my possession. So yep, I'm not even really counting that one fully started, but it is in the works. So yeah. That pattern that I'm going to be using is called Fantasy Dragon Amigurumi. Did I write down who it's by? No, I did not. So I'll find that out and I will put it up here. So yeah, that's it for my knitting. As far as my gaming goes, let's see. I'm playing in Pathfinder, Hydrangea Heatherfoot, Fugitive, rude. I'm always the good guy. I don't like being the bad guy. So we are still running, hiding from the police, trying to clear our names and show that we are still the good guys. So we've had to meet with some of the bad guys in order to figure out the person that can kind of clear our name, I guess, is in this inescapable prison that only one person has ever escaped from, and they're a bad guy, obviously, and we've gotten in touch with them and now need information. And he said the only way to get information is if we do all these favors for him. So we organized a meeting of all the leaders of the Undercity, basically all the gangs, all the bad guys, and then we delivered some money to an orphanage. Didn't look into that. I don't know what we're doing. We're just like going along with everything. And I was like, Hydrangea is absolutely not okay with this. And they're like, no, we've got to keep a low profile. We can't turn anybody in. We can't do anything. And I was like, this isn't, like, morally, she would not be okay with this. So they convinced me to just write everything down and we'll turn it all in at the end. So delivered some money to delivered a box with a message, and they were like, don't open it because it might be trapped. And we were like, okay. And we handed it to our most chaotic player who like does things on a whim all the time, handed him the box. He didn't open it. So we just delivered it to the person, didn't look in it, didn't see what it was. Then we got a message from one of the people that we trusted, and they wanted a meeting, so we met with them, and they were like, oh, here's some information, here's some stuff that's going on. We're like, cool. And then he was assassinated right in front of us. And it was fairly obvious that the message that we delivered was to assassinate this guy. So no going back from that. There goes one of our allies in this whole big mess. This is so bad. So I don't know what we're gonna do now. Onward. The other game that I'm playing that we played this week was Dungeons and Dragons, Tomb of Annihilation. And that one we, let's see. So Galaith was able to get up. We rested her, but she was healed enough to stand up again, because all three of my characters in like the past 3 or 4 weeks have pretty much perished. At least Galaith was just unconscious. But so, okay, so healed up, rested, gotten a little skirmish, but it wasn't bad. And then we decided, okay, well, our player, not Kvek, it's the same player, but so Skolo was back, and Skolo was able to go in and fight a golem, and boy, I tell you what, he made the rest of us look like fools. He went in there, it was so easy. He lost 1 hit point. That was it. Pummeled this golem and got the spear. So that was 3 spears. No, that was 2 spears, because Walter got one and now Skolo got one and made a fool of us. And so I was like, okay, well, we rested. I can go back in. I know I had a very unlucky string of rolls, which is why Galaith couldn't beat the golem before. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll go in and get some better rolls. They cast a couple spells on me before I went in. One, I don't remember what the spell was, darn it. Anyway, it gave me an extra D4 to all my damage. And then I also, another character cast higher AC on me, so I was a little bit harder to hit. Not very well. My wild magic surge ended up being way better. Instead of just plant growth that didn't help in that situation at all, it was blinding beam of light that if they failed their constitution saving throw, they got damage and were also blinded. Now they had high constitution, so it didn't work most of the time, but it did work, I think, once, and that was enough. So it made it so that it didn't hit me 1 whole round, and then there were a couple rounds where it didn't hit me every single time. So I was able to finally defeat a golem, hooray. Even though I still got pummeled into oblivion, I was still below half health, but made it. Got the spear. That's 3 of the 4 spears. We needed 1 more. And then Orasana decided to go in. Orasana, if you remember, was the first one in last time, and just Misty stepped out because she's not a frontline fighter at all and just cannot take the hits. So figured out a plan. Tried going in with Liam's tiny hut, but couldn't get it far enough into the room because it was a ritual spell. Couldn't get it far enough into the room without stepping into the room and starting the fight. So as soon as she stepped out of the hut disappeared. So all of her plans changed, and it was just funny, and it was impressive to see Matt's quick thinking. He played it really well. He decided, I'm not going to Misty step out. He flew to the top of the like barred, it wasn't a coliseum, but pit, and it was caged over. So he flew to the top, and I guess the golem couldn't reach him there. So, and he was able to cause enough damage within 10 rounds, because the flight lasted 10 rounds, to win. And it was brilliant. Did get hit once before he got high enough with an attack of opportunity, but that was it. And then could just take his time, basically. So got the 4th spear, and we were out of there. We got the cube that we needed, and we were done with that. We started heading down the road. We found a camp that left a note about how, I don't remember what the note was about. It was important. And it was something having to do with the shrines in the city of Omu and all this. And then we got a little bit further down. I think we got to another shrine, and then the DM said that that was it for the night, and we leveled up. So everybody's a little bit level higher. Galaith now gets advantage on her initiative rolls automatically, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, those were the games that we played. If you're interested in watching any of those, the Pathfinder games, the next one I believe was going to be on the 27th. I don't know if that's right. Anyway, you can find that information at Pepperial on Twitch. And if you're interested in the Dungeons and Dragons game, you can watch that most Sunday evenings on Man at Twitch. So that's my gaming. What am I reading? So that's what I've mostly been doing. I have gotten hooked into A Court of Mist and Fury. I am hooked. So this book is pretty long, but it's a fast read because it's meant for young adults. So, you know, it's a fast read. And I'm a slow reader. I'm slow at knitting, I'm slow at crocheting, I'm slow at reading, I'm just slow. I'm a little over halfway through it now, in the 2 weeks I think that I've had it. And when it first started, it did the fantasy romance stuff, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do this, but my friend said that I should stick with it, so I pushed through that, and boy am I glad that I did. This book is good. In my opinion, for whatever that's worth, this is better than the first one. And I haven't finished it yet. It may, who knows, because you know how endings are. Sometimes they can make it or break it. But I find this book better than the first one. That's how I feel. I'm enjoying it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not even halfway through, and I'm already excited for the next one. So bravo, Sarah J. Maas. I think this is the first time in my life that a sequel has been better than the original. So that's cool. That's really cool, in my opinion. So what else am I reading? It's all the same stuff. I'm also still reading Demon Copperfield by Barbara Kingsolver. That is on my Kindle. All these books have taken a back seat because I've been so hooked into A Court of Mist and Fury, but it is still there. I am still planning on reading it. And then I have been listening to Fairy Tale by Stephen King. A lot of that has been happening restless nights when not able to sleep very well, that's mostly it. When life hands you lemons, listen to Audible for something to do. I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's not always comfortable. There's also still quite a bit of pain, but you know, at least I have some distractions. So parts of it are still very scary. And this is not one of his scary books as far as I can tell, but he is such a good descriptive writer that it gets into your brain and it sticks with you. So I am enjoying it. That book is a commitment. On Audible, I think I still have 12 hours left. This book, I looked it up this morning, is 24 hours and 6 minutes long. So if you're looking for something where you get your money's worth, here you go. It is a long book. It is a commitment, but you know, it's well written. It is good. But the fantasy isn't necessarily for everyone though. I will say that. It's not like a high fantasy. It's not, well, not what most fantasy people would consider typical fantasy, but it is good. I don't know what to tell you. It's good, but it's still Stephen King. So if you like Stephen King and fantasy, you're gonna love it. So as far as life goes, with this, nothing has changed and we're just plugging along. I have noticed, so I wear earphones when I'm gaming, and just because it keeps things a little less chaotic around me with the kids in the room and everything, because they're usually in here with me. And the headphones don't work so well with this thing. So they're like partially, I don't know. It's the sacrifices we make, you know what I'm saying? And, oh, there's more dog barking. So yeah, and it's been a lot. This week there weren't the doctor's appointments, and there wasn't, you know, it was just kind of hard. It was hard. Just kind of existing in this new reality. So, but it'll get better. We're a month past the date of the accident now, so has to be getting better. So that's where I'm at with that. This week was hard. So thank goodness for the knitting, thank goodness for the crocheting, thank goodness for the gaming, and for my friends and my family, and for distracting me. So I appreciate you all. Thanks for joining me. Sorry to end it on that. I'm in general in a good mood, but you know, realistically, I'm just not all the time. Hanging in there though. So happy crafting, happy gaming. Thanks for joining me, and I can't wait to see you again next time. Bye.